Hey, what's up everybody? It's Joe Dierte again from Outlands, NKB Guild, Halligan from YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, check out the videos, all that shenanigans, whatever, let's get to the video. So, the main focus we're going to be talking about today is the item recycler. And if you don't have one, it's spendy. It's 500,000 at the Pavilion Merchant. You can probably find one from somebody selling on Discord for maybe a little cheaper. If your guild doesn't have one, I highly suggest you push them to get one. They're great for your house. They're great for a guild. They're going to speed up the process of recycling items. Without further ado, let's get into it. So when you open up the item recycler for the first time, you're going to see a menu like this. There's going to be a bunch of words, there's going to be a bunch of checkboxes, everything's going to be red. You can see on the bottom here, we have weapons, armor, we have spell books, instruments, and wands. Then up the top, you got a couple little buttons you can press here, and same thing on the bottom right here. So the main purpose of the item recycler is to smash through all the junk items and keep all that top tier stuff, right? So when you're farming in dungeons, you're hunting, you're killing monsters, you're doing T-maps, all that stuff, you're going to be looting unidentified magic weapons or armor or whatever. After you identify it, right, you don't want the junk stuff, you don't want the rune or the might or the low damage, the low accuracy. We're out there to get the top tier, the supremely spell books, the supremely instruments, the invulnerability armor, vanquishing weapons, all that stuff, right? And the item recycler is going to fast track the entire process. So what I mean by that is normally if you don't have an item recycler, what you can do is you could take any crafting tool, like I have here the sewing kit. You could take tinker tools, you could take scribe's pen, all that stuff. And right here it says recycle single item. Then there's begin recycling. So you can sift through this. You could recycle regular of a certain type, all of them of a certain type. Like let's say you just crafted 10, I don't know, ringmail gloves or something, right? If you say begin recycling and you target the item, it's going to recycle all of those ringmail gloves. Recycle all magical. If you have a bag full of magical weapons and you do the same thing, begin recycling, and you target your bag or something, it's going to recycle everything. Or the entire backpack, same thing. But the item recycler is awesome because it not only recycles everything all at once, but it recycles only what you want it to recycle. So if we go back to the menu here, we can start deciding what we want to keep and what we want to smash. And what is the point of smashing stuff or recycling? Well, for one, it gives us a little bit of materials, whatever material is typically used to craft that item, such as leather, ingots, boards. It's kind of a way to slowly accumulate some of those resources, which you can use to craft or train your skills or sell them in bulk. But it also gives us Arcane Essence. Arcane Essence is the fuel to your character. I would highly recommend, even as a new player, start accumulating that stuff. It sells for a pretty penny, and you're going to be burning through that stuff when you progress throughout the game. You know, I'd always recommend just stockpiling that stuff, because sooner or later you're going to burn through it all, and you're going to be hunting around to try and get more. So let's start out with how to set up your settings here for the item recycler. So first you're going to want to go through and you're going to want to start checking the stuff that you want to be destroyed or recycled or smashed, whatever word you want to use. It's going to basically eliminate it and convert it into resources, materials and Arcane Essence. So for instance, let's say we have any weapon that we put in here, we don't want it, we don't want the regular damage, we want some damage modifier, so regular, let's get rid of that. Rune, might, and so on and so forth. If you want to keep force, power, and vanquishing, do not check these, right? Anything that is green or checked is going to be smashed or recycled. Same thing with accuracy, same thing with durability, all that, right? So once you kind of fill this out, we don't want the accurate, surpassingly, eminently, we kind of want the top tier stuff. Same thing with armor, same thing with spell books, so on and so forth. Now, the only way that you can recycle stuff is if it's identified first. And that's where our famous Dustbuster comes into play. So if you don't know about him, or if you don't know about our guild, check us out on YouTube. I've done a lot of videos about our functions and cool little scripts that we run. And Dustbuster is the man. He runs a ton of scripts that helps out our entire guild and just keeps the flow going. So with Dustbuster, he has 120 item ID. And about every 2 to 3 seconds he will identify the entire item recycler container. Normally, if you don't have this script, you don't have 120, blah blah blah, you can have a player with 100 item ID, and you can use the skill and single click a unidentified magical item. It's going to identify it, and you have to repeat the process over and over and over until everything that you want to be identified is. Or you can have a tinker craft you a item ID wand. Same thing, single click every single item. Now you can get a tinker to craft you a container ID wand, or you can have a player that has 120 item ID. Either which one of those can identify an entire container of items, so or a pouch or a trap pouch, bag, whatever. So if you have a bag, such as this one, and this bag is all unidentified, if you have a 120 item ID person or a container ID wand, you can identify the entire bag instantly. And so that's what Dustbuster does. That's what makes this item recycler paired with Dustbuster script so awesome and beneficial. So after you go through and check everything that you want to be recycled, remember, green equals smash, green equals recycled. Red means do not touch this, keep this, I want to save this. So after you go through and change all your settings to everything that you want, you can drop your items in the crate here, and Dustbuster is going to identify everything. So let's do this. We are going to drop this in here, and he's already identified everything. So we can go through and you can single click everything just to make sure, but I guarantee you everything is identified. So now we can open this up, and one thing I want to note is that when you mess with your settings on here, you change what you want to be recycled and not, that is personalized for you. That doesn't change anyone else's uses on this, right? You could have 1,000 other people use this and they're gonna have their own personal settings. So don't think that you're messing with somebody else's settings. Don't think that somebody is gonna mess with yours. Yours will stay like this forever until you change it. The one thing that you have to remember is click this guy right here, recycle all categories. And it'll tell you a little brief summary right here. You got 26 items in there, and you're going to get 291 essence and 103 materials. So after that's done, we're going to hit begin recycling. It's going to ask you basically, are you sure? Click it again. And as we look in the bag, what are we left with? An exceedingly book. Awesome. Fantastic. So as you can see here, we got a little bit of leather, we got some ingots, we got some boards, and then we got the essence. So the way that you can either get this stuff out of here, obviously you can click and drag it to your backpack, or if you hit dump out of recycler and target yourself, everything is now in your bag. You can close this, you can move on. Now let's say you don't have all of your unidentified items in a bag. Let's say they're just scattered all over your backpack, they're in 10 different pouches for whatever reason. What's the fastest way to get everything in here? If you hit dump into recycler, and again you target yourself, everything that's unidentified, basically every item that's in your bag is going to be thrown into this chest. So again, your settings are all saved for every little category. Dustbuster's already ID'd everything. You have recycle all containers checked. You hit begin recycle, you confirm it, you smash everything up, and you kind of see what you're left with. Right, we got some pretty good stuff from our latest haul in the dungeon. Dump out of recycler, target yourself. Chest is cleared, ready for the next person to use. So out of everything that we just recycled, we ended up with 380 Arcane Essence. That's a pretty good amount, right? But like I said, you're gonna burn through this later on. If you don't have Aspect, or if you don't know what that is, the Outlands wiki page is a fantastic resource to find out more about what this stuff is, what Aspect is, all that. But remember that Arcane Essence is going to basically be your fuel, or your gasoline, or your energy, whatever you want to call it, for your Aspect. So currently I have my Aspect activated, and anytime I essentially do damage to monsters, it's going to burn a little bit of these arcane charges remaining. Once you get down to 0, your Aspect becomes deactivated, which you lose your cool little hued armor and weapons, and all of these stats that you've spent a long time building up, they go away, right? It's not activated. You're just doing kind of normal damage, I guess you could say. Normal, you don't have any perks, you don't have any cool little spells or procs is what people call them. So that's what you're always going to want to refill your arcane charges. So how do you do this? Well, as you can see, we have 645. If we take this Arcane Essence that we have here, if you go to help, click Aspect Mastery, you have this menu up. You can also double click this little icon up here, and it'll open up the same page. You can click Add, and you can target the Arcane Essence, or you can just double click the Arcane Essence, target yourself. And now we've consumed 380 Essence, double click. As you can see, we're loaded up. So this will last just a little bit, believe it or not. The higher tier you are in Aspect, the more that you're going to burn. During the time of the recording of this video, they're just releasing a patch to include a little bit more information on Arcane Essence. It sounds like they're going to introduce a way to set what your warning number is. So if I want to be warned when I'm at 50 Arcane Essence remaining, you can set that up, or 100 or 1,000 or 5, whatever it is. But you always want to keep that stuff going. Currently, the date is May 23rd, 2022, and this is the way that Arcane Essence is utilized now. Anytime you do some damage, you're going to kind of use a little bit of that essence. In the future, they're going to come out with a different mechanic of how this is used per the rumors or idea of what they're trying to do. I'm going to post that here for you so you can read this and you can kind of see it's burned a little bit differently. But anyways, guys, that's the item recycler. That's how Dustbuster works. If you come in here, you should be able to load the item recycler, he'll ID it, unload, you're ready to go. So I hope you enjoy the video. If you want to join NKB, check us out. We're on Discord. Find us in Discord, find us in game. If you want to subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Check out our other videos. All in all, have a good time, guys. I'll catch you later.